Major changes are in the works for the Texans defense, including cutting a player on the defensive line and adding a player who's now in free agency. Could give him the chance to reunite with his old team. Got cut from the Browns. Why not come back to Houston, where he had major success on the outside? Bring him in as a little bit of a role player. I think it's a really good idea. But before we get into the video, we're really close to 2,000 subscribers on the channel. The support has been crazy on Texans Digest. Thank you guys so much. Hit that sub button. Trying to reach 2,000. You guys have been going crazy in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on this defense, because it's an already stacked defense. But Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, and then if you rotate Okoronkwo, that is a threat to be reckoned with. And when you just look at the fact that Denico Autry did not play up to standard last year, that is the player potentially on the brink of just getting cut. So here's what his PFF grades were for last year. He was suspended for the first 8 games due to performance enhancing policy that they just said, we're just going to suspend you for the first 8 games. So it was definitely unfortunate, considering he did sign a 2-year contract. And then when he came in, he only had 8 tackles through 10 games. So that's not what you want to see. 3 sacks. He had 2 in 1 game. But again, nothing it's just a little out of the ordinary for a player of his caliber and what he was known for as the nose tackle on the Titans. And then he came to Houston. He just had a little bit of an underwhelming season, and that's kind of why they went out and got a lot of players just to back up. Sheldon Rankins now in there. Formerly went from the Bengals. He got released. Now on the Texans. And Rankins was here a few years ago where he had a very successful season. Same thing with Ogbo and Okoronkwo. I mean, really, he had a great season with the Texans. And again, formerly being released from the Browns just a few days ago, realistically, he doesn't have to be the guy. I mean, the Browns released him because they signed him to a really kind of bigger deal than he was expected to go, because he would have re-signed with Houston on a little bit of a lower contract. But the Browns said, hey, we'll give you the money, and he didn't play up the standards. And as far as his kind of stats, if you will, here's what we're looking at in terms of his stats. So you look at the fact that he came to Houston, 5 sacks, decent on the outside, a little bit of a second option there, but went to Cleveland, had a decent first year, second year. They just didn't really need to use him. So you're looking at now he could potentially reunite with the Texans, and realistically, I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, the Texans, why not add some more depth to that defensive line? I mean, the biggest problem I would say right now is probably the interior defensive line. Like Tim Settle Jr., solid. Lorenzo Fatukasi, again, solid. But you need to rotate those guys around. Mario Edwards, known as more of an edge. Sheldon Rankins, he's definitely going to be up front and be rotating in with Settle and Fatukasi, but it's just a matter of would you like some more wiggle room in there if you're looking for another guy like Ogbo. And Okoronkwo, again, he's a speed rusher off the edge, so he wouldn't necessarily be inside, but that would give you Denico Autry to go back inside. Again, this is not the official depth chart. Mario Edwards will probably back up Will Anderson, but again, we did see him in a couple schemes where he was inside. And looking at Okoronkwo as a player, 5 sacks on the Texans, a season high, a career high, if you will. That's where he played his best football. In 2022, may not have been the year DeMeco Ryans was with the Texans, but I still think he can find good use for him here on this defensive scheme. And why not add a little bit more into training camp? I mean, outside of your secondary and then your 2 edge guys, your linebacking core is solid. Your edge rushers are good, but who is there on the backup, on the outside? Because a good defense kind of revolves around rotational pieces, right? Especially the defensive line up front. I mean, look at the Eagles and how they were able to rotate It's a few years ago, but Javon Hargrave, you have just so many good defensive tackles in Jordan Davis and all of those guys just kind of rotating through. So if the Texans could have something similar, I'm not saying they got to run 2 defensive tackles up front every single time. I mean, you know, DeMeco Ryans can change the schemes a little bit. You can go nickel, you can go dime. I mean, it just depends on what you want to run. And I feel like with the way the secondary is based, you're going to see a lot more nickel packages with Jalen Pitre out there in the slot and in the nickel position, because that's what the team is kind of built around. They're built around their speed. You went out and got CJ Gardner-Johnson for a reason. You got Jalen Pitre coming off that injury. You re-signed him. Kamari Lassiter, the second year, great rookie season. Kalen Bullock, again, shined as a rookie. And then that's all you really need. The linebacking core, the biggest question I have is about Christian Harris. He came back off a calf injury last year, did not look 100%. He kind of played here and there, and then the playoff, again, 60% of snaps. I just don't know if he's 100% healthy, because when he was healthy, not last year but the year before, he was making plays, tackles all over the field, and that's kind of what you want to see is Christian Harris get back to that third strong linebacker spot. So on the weak side, Henry 202, To'o, whatever you want to look at, EJ Speed is another guy with literally speed to get these group of guys kind of settled. And it really is a matter of scheme for this defense. What do you want to do with DeMeco Ryans? Because you can have a zone fit where somebody comes off the edge. But realistically, we're looking at the Texans' defensive side and how they actually might look at getting rid of Denico Autry. This is a candidate that could be released, not only because of how bad his season was last year. You can just take a look at the numbers for yourself. 3 sacks, 8 tackles, 4 assisted. This was through 10 games, and that's just, again, I know defensive tackles don't get a lot of tackles, but for what Denico Autry was known for, being a run stuffer, being a sack kind of genie up front, that is what we were expecting. Some sacks, definitely some numbers in terms of tackles for loss, and he just hasn't been able to produce that. So why not get rid of Autry, bring in Okoronkwo? The only problem is those are two different players, right? Denico Autry is a nose tackle. Okoronkwo is an edge rusher outside, more known for his speed and the time that he was on Houston. So it's definitely a difficult thing to look forward to. But again, Autry's only getting older, 35 years old, nice veteran. And Richard Lewis, head of Houston, actually argues that they should bring in Okoronkwo. And I do agree. I mean, this isn't really a terrible idea. You look at, again, the edge position is pretty set depending on who's going to play there, whether it's, obviously Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, but it's who's going to back them up. Is it going to be Mario Edwards on one side, Darrell Taylor on the other? Are you going to have Sheldon Rankins, Denico Autry, Tim Settle, and Lorenzo Fatukasi inside? Because I don't even think you need to cut Autry. He could also be good depth, or maybe a good first and second down player. You take him out on third down, you put Rankins. Like, you could always switch it up. So let me know what you guys think in the comments about maybe potentially dropping Autry, because he definitely didn't have he didn't have a good season last year, but that could be due to the fact that he's older, he was fatigued. Again, maybe not used to the system. He was suspended for the first games of the season. So Sheldon Rankins now taking over as the starter. Supposedly, I would assume, I know he's listed as a second string, but most likely you sign him to be the guy that he was on Houston, and then you put Denico Autry behind him or in the plays where he needs to be. That's where I think this kind of player can shine, is in certain situations to where he doesn't have to be on the field for 50-60% of snaps. So do you think about cutting him? I don't hate it, but realistically, for my eyes, I think it should be Sheldon Rankins out there and Fatukasi, because that can plug up the middle very well. And then you can rotate with Edwards can be inside. He can also play outside. Autry is pretty much a nose tackle. But again, it's a different system than he's used to. Try and get him up to speed. I mean, I don't know what to really say in terms of excuses, but I really don't think you have to cut him, because it could be a good asset. Now, you don't really need cap space, so there's just no real reason in my eyes to get rid of him. However, I do agree with bringing in Okoronkwo. That's what you're looking at here for the Texans. Let me know your thoughts. I mean, realistically, this defense is only going to get better as time goes on, and I don't hate the report to go out and get him, but it's just a matter of what else does this team have left to do before they get ready for the start of this season. So not really a lot more to do in terms of getting ready for this season. I mean, you got about 2 months until the end of preseason. That'd be August 27th. So you really don't have too much time. 2 months is solid. I mean, you really are the focus mainly should be on offense. Getting CJ Stroud comfortable with his new wide receivers. The defense is already pretty stacked, but this is the defense. And you're looking at a solid probably one of the better secondaries in football. A decent defensive line. Defensive tackle's a little bit iffy, but we have depth there. Linebacking core, there's not a lot of depth, but the top 3 starters, when healthy, Christian Harris, hopefully he's back to speed. That's what you're looking forward to. So it's been a ramble for me, but Denico Autry on the verge of being released. Okoronkwo has been released by the Browns. Could see a reunion with the Texans, maybe. There was rumors of him going to Atlanta, back with Raheem Morris and the Rams when he played there. So let me know your thoughts. This is the defense we're looking at, but I wouldn't mind a couple extra pieces, especially maybe offense as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. But appreciate you guys watching. Hit that sub button if you're new. Trying to hit 2,000. It's the milestone on the channel, but appreciate everybody watching, and we'll see you in the next video.